What's up guys, JV2017 here, and I am bringing you a new Fallout 4 tips and tricks video, and this time I wanted to provide a basic overview of the factions for those new to the game. Just a quick reminder guys, this is your hub for daily Fallout 4 content here on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned on my channel for daily Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos. Today I'm going to share everything you need to know before choosing a faction in the game, because really that decision determines a lot of what you do in the end game and actually the outcome of Fallout 4 for your particular character. So we'll discuss some background information on the 4 main factions, what you need to do in order to join them, and then finally what benefits you will receive upon choosing your faction. Real quick, I will be live streaming Fallout 4 on my Twitch channel tonight, so check the description below for more info if you are interested. If you're new to Fallout and are not really sure what a faction is, they are essentially groups of people in the Commonwealth that share a common goal and interest, and they also interact with the player. So they want something from the player, they want the player to help them, or they want the player to destroy another faction. That's something you'll run into a lot. And the 4 main ones that we're going to be talking about in this video that you can actually side with are the Minutemen, the Railroad, the Brotherhood of Steel, and then a 4th secret one that I'm not going to share right this second because it is a big spoiler. So if you just got the game, I'm not here to spoil it for you, but there will be a point in the video where I stop and say, hey, spoilers are ahead. We're going to talk about this secret faction, so don't, go past this point, and I will give you a time when I'm done talking about it in the description below if you guys, don't want to get spoiled. Starting us off is the Minutemen, and they are pretty much the common man's militia. They are the faction for the people, of the people, by the people, whatever you want to call it. So their goal is to protect and kind of form a strong bond between everyone. So they are pretty much out for peace all around. They just want to protect people, make sure they're okay, because there's a lot of bad things out in the wasteland. The Minutemen once had a strong presence in the Commonwealth. They were a pretty common faction, and they were powerful, but unfortunately not anymore. There was the Massacre of Quincy, which pretty much picks up where Preston and Mama Murphy and the gang start in the beginning of the game, and Preston's pretty much the last of the Minutemen, the last true Minuteman. I guess Sturgis and the rest of those are part of the faction, but they're not really fighters. They're not really resistance fighters in that sense. So they're pretty much at their weakest right now, and they need the help of the player. And I would call the Minutemen one of the only truly good factions in the game. There's another one I'm about to talk about, but really these guys have a good purpose. There's nothing morally gray about these people. The Minutemen are a good guy, morally good faction. The Minutemen are also unique in that you can actually make plans and do big things with other factions, and it won't affect your standing with the Minutemen. There are some particular things you can do to piss off the Minutemen, but really they're not, going to turn on you if you decide to side with, let's say, the Brotherhood. They're just kind of on the sidelines with the giant faction war, in my opinion. So the Minutemen are unique in that sense. You can pretty much be sided with the Minutemen and the Brotherhood, but you do have to pick one to choose. And I'll talk about specifically the rules for joining and choosing a faction in just a minute here. Actually, let's talk about that right now. There are some certain rules for joining and choosing a faction within Fallout 4, and it's basically that the player can interact with any faction in the game as long as those interactions, those choices don't negatively affect another faction. That's when you turn into certain situations where a faction might become hostile with you because of your choices with another faction. And it's a little tricky because some of them do make decisions that pretty much go against the other one's main goals. And so it's important to know that all factions have a point of no return, meaning that once you do something, you cannot go back and join another faction or choose that faction. So you need to kind of tread lightly when you're making these decisions if you're still on the fence about choosing a certain faction. So a good general rule to follow is more of the quests that you complete with one faction, the more negatively you could affect another faction, especially if the goals of those factions are opposite, they affect each other. So it is possible to reap the many benefits of each faction in a single playthrough, but you really do have to pull some strings because you have to do all these things before you're forced to choose a single faction or before you're forced to do something that adversely affects another faction. So with all of that in mind, back to the Minutemen. The way you join the Minutemen and discover them is by doing the Win Freedom Calls main quest. So this is pretty much the second main quest in the game. you're going to do it no matter what unless you completely neglect it. So this is in Concord at the Museum of Freedom. Once you're done with that, you fight the Deathclaw in the power armor. You'll talk to Preston Garvey and he'll offer for you to become the general of the Minutemen. So the benefits of joining the Minutemen are you can have Preston Garvey as a companion, and he has one of the best companion perks in the game. And the nice thing about, siding with or joining the Minutemen is that, again, it doesn't affect a lot of the other factions. So you can kind of pair two factions together as long as one is the Minutemen. So Preston Garvey is one benefit. Another is that you get a flare gun that you can use to summon 3 to 6 level 1 Minutemen militia to help you if you're ever in trouble. That's kind of nice. All of the factions have something kind of like this. And of course, there are many other benefits as well, but those are the main ones. The next faction is the Railroad, and they kind of, vie for power through their network of agents. They're kind of a covert organization that works underground. They're not on the surface. They are not really, outwardly expressive, kind of like the Brotherhood of Steel, whose presence is everywhere. You don't really know if the Railroad is around or not. They're only really around at their headquarters, which is a pretty secret place. And their goal is to protect fugitive synths that have escaped from the Institute, and also to fight for the freedom of the synths. So really, they're kind of like the Underground Railroad, in American history. They're trying to smuggle these synths, away and give them their freedom, and they hope that one day all synths will be free to choose what they want to do with their lives. So they really don't like that synths are being used for manual labor and as slaves. So they really, really hate the Institute. They're their primary enemy. Some of you may disagree with me here, but I do believe that the Railroad is the other only good faction, truly good, morally, their purposes and what they're fighting for is a good cause. They're trying to save these sentient beings and give them a choice in their robot lives, their synth lives. So again, I do think the Railroad is a good faction if that's what you're going for with your character. In order to first discover and join the Railroad, you'll need to complete the Road to Freedom quest, which is something that'll pop up in a variety of ways. Most people will run into this by doing the main quest and talking to a certain person after you find Nick Valentine, but that's kind of a good way into the main quest line. You can actually just go directly to the location, which is actually called Park Street Station in the downtown area, but it's populated by a lot of enemies, so it's probably not a good idea to go there really early in the game, but you can do that. Also, you can hear some people talking about it in Diamond City. That'll point you on your way as well, but in order to join them, you need to complete that quest first. The main benefits of joining the Railroad are you get Deacon as a companion. He's a fantastic stealth-based companion character because of his affinity perk. It's super awesome. He's also hilarious. He's probably one of my favorite companions in the game. You also get the Deliverer, which is a silenced kind of 10mm pistol variant. It is very cool. Very, very good gun that you can get. You could also get the Ballistic Weave armor mod. Apparently there's a way to get that without siding with the Railroad. I'm not really sure about that, but you do get it if you do certain quests for the Railroad. And then of course there are many other benefits as well. Our next faction is the good old Brotherhood of Steel, pretty much returning from every single Fallout game. And they really use technology, and they're the most military-like faction out there. They've got this command structure. They are very, to the point. They've got an objective, and they carry it out militarily. They've got a lot of organization going on. They're not covert like the Railroad. They are very, in your face. Their presence is known. And so their goal is to secure the future of the human race by acquiring and preserving pre-war technology. So they're about preserving the pre-war technology and then using it, and also making sure other factions don't have it. So in their conquests, they often kill people and sacrifice others to further their own cause. And so this is a faction, another faction I would say is morally gray, because they are racist. They don't like certain people. They hate ghouls, even ghouls that survive. Like Good Neighbor, the Brotherhood would probably annihilate if that was their primary goal. But they do want to eliminate the ghoul presence. They were all about eliminating super mutants in Fallout 3. So, that kind of, idea carries over to this game. And also they want to eliminate the Institute. That's pretty much their primary enemy, because their goals don't align with their own. There are many ways to discover the Brotherhood if you're looking to join them, and the primary way is after Fort Hagen. You'll see the giant Pride Wind ship go across the screen, but that's pretty far through the main quest line. So you can also just tune into a radio frequency, which is a random quest you'll get, I believe, by entering a certain area around Diamond City, a little bit north of it and south of where the player first starts in the game. Or you could also just go to the Cambridge police station. That's pretty much the first way that most of you will start and discover the Brotherhood. And once you've found them, you're you're going to need to do the Call to Arms quest, which is with Paladin Dance. You're kind of killing some synths, and then you'll need to complete the Semper Invicta quest to officially join the Brotherhood. That's pretty much when you're inducted in. There's an official ceremony and all that fancy stuff. So the benefits that come with joining the Brotherhood are that you get Paladin Dance as a companion, which is really cool. He's one of the strongest companions. He's got a great affinity perk. He carries a lot of stuff for you, and he's wearing power armor. He looks like Buzz Lightyear. What more can I say? You'll get a suit of T60 power armor with a jetpack mod already on it. You don't have to build it, so if you want to bypass science within your build, this is a nice faction to choose because you get this power armor. You also get access to their arsenal of weapons and ammo. It's huge. You'll get some Gauss rifles that you can buy as well, or you could steal them, you know, if you're playing that kind of character. You also get a flare that you can call a vertibird to your location for traveling around the Commonwealth. So, you know, it's kind of weird because you can already fast travel, but if you want to use the vertibird, you can do that too, and it's very, very cool. This marks the point in the video where I am going to talk about spoilers with the final secret faction. So if you haven't played the main quest line yet, stop watching right here and check the description for a timestamp where I am gonna stop talking about spoilers, and it is, you know, safe for you to watch again. So the final faction in the game that you can join is the Institute, and they use synths and the most advanced technology, you know, kind of made underground to do their bidding. And their goal is to destroy all pre-war culture, because they actually blame that on the downfall of humanity and the Great War and whatnot, and recreate it as a utopian society, kind of recreated in their own image, because the Institute is an organization that's been operating underground in complete secrecy for a very long time. As you'll tell through the main story, man, nobody knows about the Institute. Nobody knows, you know, a lot of the real going-ons of the Institute, except for the player when they find out. So I would say that the Institute is the truly evil kind of organization. Some of you will disagree with me here. Maybe I'll say they're morally gray, but, you know, I don't know. They just really push their ideals, and I think they're the most true evil kind of faction within the game if you're going for that kind of character. So in order to join them, unfortunately, you have to complete the main quest line. You have to do the quest called Institutionalized, where you actually discover and go to the Institute and meet Father, and then you'll be able to join them. He gives you kind of an offer, and you can accept it or reject it at that point. So the benefits of joining the Institute are that you get X688 as a companion, and this guy is really cool. He's an Institute courser, and he's the most powerful, you know, companion in the game if you're counting special stats, but I've explained in several videos I don't think those really matter, but he is a very badass companion if you would like him. Also, you get a signal grenade item that you can use to summon a Gen 1 synth to do your bidding, to kind of attack enemies for you like every other faction that I've mentioned. You'll gain access to the Institute's high-tech weaponry, and that's pretty cool. That pretty much rounds out the main benefits of joining the Institute. Now that you all have a basic overview of each faction in the game, I'd like to know, which one are you gonna go with, you know, with your new character? Is there one that you're aiming for? Are you gonna try to get everything, all the benefits from each faction before you piss one of them off and have to actually choose? I'd like to know, what are your plans for factions in the game? Share all of that below. Alright guys, today I told you everything you need to know in order to choose a faction in Fallout 4. Next time we will cover more Fallout on my channel, so stay tuned for daily Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos, and remember that this is your hub for Fallout 4 content on YouTube. If you learned something new, remember to hit that like button. I would really appreciate it, and don't forget to subscribe for more unique weapon guides, build guides, and general tips and tricks videos. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.